everybody. Welcome to Monday Morning Must-Knows. My name is Merlin Rothold, and it is the final few days of April. Hopefully you're excited to get that month behind us. It's been kind of a rough one. Lots and lots of volatility. The key word for probably the next few months is volatility, and I don't expect to see anything change. This week, I do expect to see a lot of volatility, not only because of some of the big economic pieces and, of course, talks about trade wars, but earnings. Last week, we saw some pretty interesting earnings with Tesla and Google and other companies adding a lot of volatility to our markets. What do we have coming up for the upcoming trading week? 1,011 companies reporting earnings. So there are quite a few to talk about today. On Monday, we start things off with Welltower. We've got Waste Management, Cadence Design Systems, Nucor Steel, and Domino's Pizza. Pizza. Exact Little Caesars. Well, we'll move on to Tuesday, which gives us some other big names. You've got Visa, Coca-Cola, AstraZeneca, Pfizer, which has been absolutely horrific. One of the uglier looking charts you're going to see is Pfizer. You've got Starbucks, UPS, and Honeywell. And then the big stuff starts on Wednesday. As you can see here, Microsoft and Meta, Qualcomm, Caterpillar, UBS, and KLA-10 core, but we're not done. It gets even bigger on Thursday. Really, Wednesday, Thursday are the juggernaut days for this earnings season. Now we move on to Thursday with Apple, Amazon, Eli Lilly, MasterCard, McDonald's, Shell, and Amgen. And just when you think it's done, oh no, wait, there's more. We've got Berkshire Hathaway, ExxonMobil, you've got Chevron, and you have Cigna reporting earnings on Friday. So, as you can tell, a significant week for earnings. Really, it's going to be about Thursday morning's trade because remember, as you can see there, Microsoft and Meta reporting earnings Wednesday. That's after market close, which will impact the Thursday open. And of course, you see Apple and Amazon on there on Thursday. That is also after market close, which will impact the markets for Friday. So really, Thursday and Friday setting up to be the big earnings days. But wait, we've got other stuff to talk about. Let's dive into big economic data with regards to jobs. Of course, right now, that trifecta that we're looking at from growth, inflation, and unemployment, which could be a stagflation variable here, is unemployment. And this week we have 5 pieces to talk about. We'll start things off early in the week on Tuesday with the JOLTS job openings at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. On Wednesday, you get the ADP non-farm employment change at 8:15 a.m. Eastern Time. Unemployment claims as usual on Thursday. Last week we saw a little bit of a tick up there. And then Friday is the big one, the unemployment rate at Friday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, along with the non-farm employment change. What makes this one so interesting is the fact that the unemployment rate has been slowly ticking up. And a lot of economists, and even Jerome Powell and the Fed, are concerned about rising inflation. So what does the chart look like? That is the ultimate telltale, is what the chart says. Well, here is your chart. I'll make it full screen so you guys can see it even better. It's not dramatic. I've been saying this over and over and over again, not only here, but on my show, also on all the XLT sessions I teach for Trading Academy. We really are relatively flat for about the past year. Now, we have seen over the last 3 months ticks up from 4% to 4.1 to 4.2. Now, this Friday, if we get a 4.3 or higher, it's going to start to make people feel like the trend is there and there might be more upside for unemployment, and that is not necessarily a good thing. That would cause President Trump to come back at Jerome Powell and say, I demand you cut rates, you loser, right? He was insulting him last week. Right now, all of a sudden, it became peaceful on Thursday and Friday, but that hostility may come back if these unemployment numbers start to surge and more pressure on Jerome Powell and the Fed. All right, now let's move on to rate statements. We have one central bank reporting this week, and it's kind of an important one. We are right now in the midst of a trade war, and that could lead to more economic pressure on countries like Japan. Japan has a rate announcement on Wednesday. It's tentative, so we're not sure exactly when that's going to come out. Right now, they're at 0.5, so 0.5%. And the expectations are they're going to stay at 0.5%. At this point, I'm not so concerned with the actual number. It's really about what do the bank ministers say about their rates, about inflation, about the impacts of tariffs and this trade war having on Japan, right? Those types of things really can lead to giant moves in currencies like the Japanese yen or whatever currency is issuing those statements. So this is a pretty big one. It is, again, tentative. So as we get towards Wednesday, we'll probably talk more about that one, but make sure you check your earnings calendar and economic calendar so you don't get caught off guard with any of these announcements. That, my friends, is your Monday Morning Must-Knows. We'll see you next week.